Hi, welcome back to our channel. Have you considered the impacts of technology in your children? Today we want to explore exactly how technology affects our children and how we found technology has been an impact in our family and with our children, and therefore what we decide to do with technology and children. So, what are the positives of technology?
Well, we are able to talk to you through this technology and reach lots of people.
Technology helps us be more efficient. We can do more than we did without technology.
I know I appreciate being able to call my family, video call, and see them when we're so far apart. It feels like we're closer to each other.
That's right, because we have family in Nigeria and Kenya and a lot of cousins and aunties and uncles. Without technology, we would not be able to reach them as easily as we do currently.
Well, all this sounds great. So is there really an issue with technology?
Exactly. And that's what we used to think when we approached the topic of technology in our children. We thought there's so many positives, it's good for our children. And that's why we showed technology to our children in the beginning.
I remember when our daughter was really young and we discovered Miss Rachel, and we were thinking, wow, this is such an incredible way for her to learn, and put just Miss Rachel just playing continuously for her. And we got YouTube Kids as well, and we put all Miss Rachel in there, and would go on these long drives, and we would just pop that iPad back there. She's quiet, she's enjoying, she's singing along. It's that time in the day you're like, oh, I can drive quietly and there's no crying and I don't have to worry about that. So that was definitely something that we found, oh, this is a positive. We can really use this in these times.
We also use technology at home. I had some games for our daughter on the iPad that was educative games that would teach her some maths, some English, and it looked good when she was playing with these games and she was asking, Daddy, what's that? And it seemed like she was learning quite a lot. There was also situations like parties or events or even church where we thought technology was quite useful to help our child be quiet during the service so that we can concentrate, or to be occupied during an event so that we can concentrate on the event.
And I think even the thinking behind it is very important, because in my mind I'm thinking, this is a child. I can't expect her to focus and be quiet. I need to give her something to occupy her mind so she can be lost in it, and then I can finish whatever I'm doing.
One thing we try to do in our parenting is to manage situations so that we don't have to keep telling her no or tell her off. So in a situation where she is brought to church or brought to an event where someone is talking and we need to learn something, and she might want to play or want to run around or dance around or just move around as kids do, giving her the phone or iPad was the distraction and allowed us to not tell her no as much as we did.
Before recording this video, we searched 10 alarming facts that entertainment is doing to children right now. And we've chosen our top 5, and we want to share that with you.
Addiction patterns. Entertainment platforms are designed with dopamine triggering algorithms, making children more vulnerable to addiction-like behaviors.
Sleep is being stolen. Blue light from screens and binge-watching behaviors are linked to delayed sleep, reduced sleep quality, and shortened sleep duration in children and teens.
Sexualization of childhood. Children are increasingly exposed to sexual content and mature themes at younger ages, even in seemingly family-friendly entertainment.
Family disconnect. Entertainment often replaces family bonding time, with kids retreating into devices instead of engaging in shared meals, conversations, or activities.
Distorted reality and identity confusion. Constant exposure to curated online personas, fantasy worlds, and unrealistic lifestyles fuels low self-esteem and confusion about identity. The reason why we searched the 10 most alarming facts was that we started to see some effects in our child that we did not like. And that made us think technology doesn't just have positive effects, it also has negative effects. And we're interested to find out what these negative effects could be. Let's tell you some of the negative effects we saw in our child by showing her technology so early.
Something we noticed was that when she is specifically on an iPad or a phone, her attention is completely on it. You call her name, she will not respond. And you literally have to go and get her attention by turning her head towards you so she can actually see that you're there. Something else I noticed is that, yes, we did get quiet, peaceful drives, but she was learning about nature on the screen instead of seeing nature in real life. So she was probably learning about a tree and what it looks like. But hello, outside are all these trees and all this nature that she's just missing out on completely.
One of the facts talked about addiction. We saw when we gave our child an iPad or phone that she showed addiction-like behaviors in a way that she would want that as the first thing when we get into the house or the first thing when we get into the car. She would think about it all the time. She'd say, can I have an iPad? Mommy, Daddy, can I have your phone? And it came to the point where these are the things she wants to do all the time, just watch on a screen. Another point is that technology gave our child instant gratification. Children need to be bored. When we're bored, that's when we can come up with new ideas of how to play and be creative. And also it's the best way to learn. You learn a lot more about yourself and what you like, what you don't like. But iPad or phone gives you instant gratification because it keeps you wanting more and more, and it gives you the things that you want more and more. When she was watching YouTube Kids and controlling what she wanted, she was able to choose what channels she watches and so on and so forth. Of course, we did heavily protect what she watches and choose the channels that we thought was most appropriate. But we saw that she just never stopped.
I would see her behavior or her tantrums start to show up. If she was watching something and she accidentally pressed something else, she would lose her mind. The worst thing has happened. What she was enjoying is gone, and it's almost like she was losing control of her emotions. And she's young, so she's trying to figure out, how do I deal with these situations? And I think for us as parents, it is so important to understand and realize how much we play a role in how the children grow up. If we just let them go down a path, that's how they're going to view life is supposed to be. Now, I love watching my children right now when we go on trips and my husband goes, no, we don't need to put anything on. They can just be quiet, and they will sing, they will come up with little plays, they will look outside, they will observe things, and they will be so creative. Maybe they will recreate stories they've been told, and it's just so amazing. And yes, they will ask 101 questions, but they are children, and that's how it's supposed to be. And so it's so beautiful to see them actually embrace their childhood and actually explore that, than to have them quiet and controlled and just on a screen.
And my wife has alluded to some of the positives of taking away technology and what we've actually decided to do. So we can even tell you a bit more about what we've done. But that was one of the things. We decided that every single car journey, we will no longer show the iPad. There was a point where we literally had a whole contraption just to get the iPad behind my car seat so that she can see the iPad. And it did offer us some quiet journeys. But do you know what? Ever since we've taken that iPad away from the back of the car seat, it's been one of the most enjoyable journeys we've ever had. She tells us every time, Daddy, look, there's a plane there. Daddy, look, there's a big tower. Daddy, look, there's a big church. She's excited to see what is going across her window. She's excited to see nature, excited to see new things. And then there are times where she just doesn't do anything. She just stays quiet and she just sits at the back. But there are times also where we just sing songs together. And we've loved that as a family, to bond over songs, worship songs. And she has her favorite song. She's like, Daddy, let's play this. And when it comes on, she's like, Daddy, come on, it's my song. It's been enjoyable and it's been fun. I feel like sometimes we underestimate how much God has molded our children into what they currently are. When you give children a chance, they can show you that they can be responsible in certain situations.
I also love how observant she is. You did mention that before. And when she used to have the iPad all the time, she wouldn't notice much of what's going on. Now, she pretty much knows where everyone lives. She knows all the routes. If I take a different turn, she wonders, she asks, why did you go that way? Why didn't you go the way we're supposed to go when we're going to this person's house? So it just helps you to see that because that distraction really is out of the way, she's able to actually see the world in color and really take it in, and it helps her mind really. It's a memory game, and she's like, this is where we turn, this is what we do. She asks so many questions, whereas before it would literally be quiet, just a quiet car ride. And this is building on top of maybe in the house I wanted to do the house chores or do something, and so I probably popped and Entertainment on the TV, and so all day really I'm not hearing from her. She's not talking to me, I'm not talking to her. We're in the house but we're not connecting. But now even in the house we have maybe a couple of hours of the TV might be on, but most of the time it's, hey, look, there's a big house, you have a whole sibling over here, you have a whole bunch of toys, and now she wants to go out for a walk, she wants to be in the garden, and there's just a lot more to explore in life.
She also helps me get out of my own addiction behaviors. One of the most humbling things you can do is to look on your screen time on your phone and see how much time you're spending on your device.
Are we using technology as an excuse not to connect with our children? My daughter's favorite phrase in the morning every day is, "Mommy, what are we doing today?" Literally every day. She has to know the plan. What are we doing? And after we do something, she's like, "Mommy, what are we doing next?" And sometimes I'm like, what else am I supposed to do that's grand? And it's actually quite fascinating how the little things children love. I can say, let's go wipe the tables, and she will be jumping for joy. My son too. Well, in my mind, I think I have to, this big extravagant thing, and I think, I just can't take any more questions, and then just pop that TV on. So I just want to eat in peace. That is something I think about all the time. I just want 10 minutes of peace so I just can eat. So let me just pop this on, go and watch it so I can eat. And I pop it on, and after 1 minute, they're right next to me, asking me, what are you eating? What are you doing? What are we?
Yep.
And then I tend to feel frustrated instead of embracing, wow, let me actually open my heart to connect and to embrace that they're curious, and that's a great thing to have that kind of interaction in that relationship with them.
The amount of time we spend with our children in the early years are so important. I believe they're quite foundational. If we don't spend enough time with our children, we allow technology to teach our children, I think it's quite detrimental to our children. I believe that this is one of the reasons why mental health is just increasing and increasing, because as humans, we need human interaction. That's why COVID was one of the most impactful events to our society, really, because just those years of not being able to interact with other humans was so impactful to most people that increased mental health dramatically. This conversation about technology is not ending with this video, because we believe that this is such an expansive topic that it needs more than one video. What we want to talk about in our next video is what to show your children, and what kind of content is not good for your children, and what kind of content we decided to show our children.
So you must connect with us next week. And you might have noticed something different today. We're wearing new merch. We're wearing a new outfit. So we want to show it to you. Shout out to my mom and dad. Thank you so much for these tops. We love them so much. And please continue to watch our Two Equally Yoked Marriage channel, and we'll see you next time for the next part of this video.